Hi everyone, my name is Ben, and in this video I want to give a few more pointers on practicing the four immeasurables: love, compassion, joy and equanimity. So there's already a series of 4 videos on this channel about the four immeasurables, and each video deals with one of them. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some things we can do to sort of enhance the practice. This video is aimed at everybody. If you're not a Buddhist, I hope it's useful. If you are a Buddhist, I hope it's a useful reminder, and please bear with me when I tell you things that you've probably heard many times before. But it is good to think about these things over and over again, because that way they tend to sink in. So the first thing to say is that these meditations in the Tibetan Buddhist context are always preceded by refuge, and they are always followed by dedication. So I want to look a little bit first at refuge and then at dedication. Refuge is something that Tibetan Buddhists do before all our meditation. We take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. The Buddha is the historical Buddha who taught what has since become Buddhism. The Dharma is his teachings, and the Sangha are the community of his followers. So if you're a Buddhist, then you will know what those are, and you'll know how to take refuge in them, whether you do it by a specific prayer or just in your mind in a sort of more general way. If you're not a Buddhist, then I think refuge can still be very important. And I think if you're not a Buddhist, the way to understand refuge is really through intention. What is the intention of doing the meditation? Generally speaking, with these meditations, with the Four Immeasurables, our intention is to generate a kind heart. All right, so whether you're a Buddhist or not, if you're entering these meditations, the best intention to have is the intention of cultivating a kind heart. So if you are not a Buddhist and you want to do these meditations, it's good just before you start to do something like have a moment of silence and just think of all the good qualities of a kind heart, and set your intention to create a kind heart, to make your heart kinder. So if you start the meditation with the intention to create a kind heart, then that will very much help in generating these qualities of love, compassion, joy and equanimity. And it doesn't have to be a formal thing. If you're not a Buddhist in particular, you can just set your intention very gently, silently to yourself, that you want to do this practice to create a kinder heart, to create more kindness in yourself. There was a very, very famous teacher in Tibet called Bodhicitta, and it's from his lineage, his sort of school, if you like, that these teachings come. So the Four Immeasurables are very much connected with his tradition. And he was an extremely learned man, a very, very good monk. He kept all the rules of discipline. He knew all about Buddhism. He'd studied philosophy for years, and he was a great meditator. People used to come to him for instructions on philosophy, for very advanced teachings, and a lot of the time he would just tell them, just be kind. Just be kind. Because kindness, compassion, really is the essence of the Dharma. It really is the essence of the Buddha's teachings in some way. Now for dedication. Again, in Buddhism, this is often done through a sort of formal prayer. So the prayer will be to dedicate any merit you've gained, any good karma, any benefit to all other beings. So you dedicate the benefit of what you've done for all sentient beings, and you hope that the benefit can be transferred from you to them. As I say, that's a rather formal way of looking at it, and in the Buddhist context it's very, very powerful. If you're not a Buddhist, then don't worry, you can just try in your mind to send any benefit you've had to others. Just say, this meditation has been helpful for me. I hope that this benefit can be transferred to all other beings. Very simple. So when we're doing the dedication, we should be doing it for all beings. So we're not transferring the benefit of the meditation to other people that we like. You know, it's not like, here's this nice benefit I've got, I'm going to give it to my loved ones. No. It's, here's this benefit I've got, I want to give it to everyone, to all beings. And that's very important because that links in very much with equanimity, which is the last of these qualities that we've been generating. It's important to recognize that the Four Immeasurables are a gradual path. So when we start to do these meditations, we may only feel just a little bit of benefit, just a little bit of kindness or love or compassion or equanimity. This is why they use the word to cultivate about these meditations. We are cultivating these qualities in the same way that farmers cultivate crops. So it doesn't happen all at once. You don't just put the seeds in the ground and suddenly, immediately you have a field of perfect wheat that you can harvest. It takes time, it takes attention. If you're doing these meditations, persevere. Don't worry if it doesn't come immediately, it will get there. And a really important thing to bear in mind is that even if we can only generate a tiny bit of compassion, a tiny bit of love, a tiny bit of equanimity, these things are really helpful. These things can really change our lives. So if we go from having, 1% care for other beings to having 2% or 3%, that can make a really big difference in our lives. It can transform our relationship with someone. I've had situations where I've had a colleague who's been difficult. I've done compassion practice for them, and it's made my relationship with them a lot easier. Now, I'm not saying that there was me doing some amazing meditation. It's just that by doing a bit of meditation, it changed my perspective. It allowed me to relax a bit. It allowed me to be more open and more kind, and that made a big difference. So even a little bit of compassion or joy or equanimity or love, even a little bit can really change things, and it can be really, really powerful. And of course, the more you do and the more you cultivate, the bigger the effect will be. I want to talk about something else which comes up a lot in Buddhism and is useful to talk about when you're talking about the Four Immeasurables, and that's Bodhicitta. So this word Bodhicitta comes up very frequently, and it's described in various ways, but basically it's the thought of enlightenment, the state of mind where you want to help others and everything you do is geared towards helping other beings. The Four Immeasurables, love, compassion, joy and equanimity, together generate bodhicitta. Together they are bodhicitta. So they're very, very important, and although we often break down the practice into these four different qualities, actually they are all aspects of bodhicitta. They're all aspects of this ultimately compassionate state of mind, this ultimately compassionate attitude towards the world and towards others. So don't worry if it has seemed a bit bitty during this series of videos. The reason that things are broken down is because it's often easier for us to understand and engage with them when we can focus on one aspect at a time. But ultimately, all the Four Immeasurables come together and they are bodhicitta, this completely compassionate, completely open attitude to the world and to other beings. I hope this video has been useful. If you like it, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and please feel free to share it on social media. Thank you very much.